Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to have multiple user registration in Django. To show that, I have created a project named Django Register, and I have also created an accounts app that will contain all our user related information also and our models, and also we will do our user authorization and authentication in here. So this project will contain two types of users. One is employees and another is customers. So suppose you have a website for your company where both your customers and employees can register and sign in or log in. However, you definitely don't want both the types of users to have access to everything in your project. So for example, the employees will have access to the admin area, but the customers wouldn't. So I will create the two registration forms, one for employee registration and one for the customer registration, and both will have different permissions. I have also created a templates folder which will have all our HTML files. So I have created one registration page where we will ask the user whether he or she wants to sign in as a customer or an employee, and then based on that we will send the user to the desired registration page, customer registration or employee registration. I have also created an HTML index page, which is basically our home page. You will make it according to your requirements, what your home page will look like. Just for simplicity, I have just written here an h1 tag, which is welcome. So first I'm going to create my models, user models, in models.py, and I'm gonna have three models, which are gonna be user model, customer model, and employee model. You can think of models as your database tables. So in my database, there will be one table for user, one table for customer, and another table for employee. So there are two ways to create custom user model. One is abstract based user and another is abstract user. So as you can see here, there are two ways to extend the default Django user model. One is abstract based user and another is abstract user. So abstract based user is used when you want more flexibility and the Django default user doesn't satisfy you. And abstract user is basically just extending the default user model and adding some extra fields to the user model. So today I'm going to use abstract user. So the user model will just extend the abstract user model. Abstract user model already has some default fields like first name, last name, then is stuff, and things like that. So let's create our model first. So what I just did here is I created two Boolean variables. One is customer and another one is employee. So what this is going to do is it's just going to help us to identify whether the user is a customer or an employee. Another thing which is going to be similar for both the user is first name, last name. If you want, of course, you can just omit this and not have it at all. Okay, so as you can see, we have extended our default user model with the help of abstract user, and now we will create our other two models, which is customer now. You can have any field that you want. So just for simplicity, I'm gonna add maybe two models. Sorry, I'm gonna add two fields. One will be phone number. Let me just copy this. Sorry. And another one, let's just say location. Okay, something which is very important in here is having a one-to-one relationship with the user here. So both the customer and the employee models will have a one-to-one relationship with the user model. So what we were doing is we are just extending this user model and it's gonna have a one-to-one relationship with this. So what does that mean? One-to-one relationship is basically a foreign key. The user will be a foreign key with unique being true. So models dot So what we just did here is we created a user field which will have a one-to-one relationship with the user model, and on delete equals to models.cascade means if this user is deleted, if a particular user is deleted which has a one-to-one relationship with the customer, then the customer model, that particular customer will also get deleted. And primary key equals to true means that the user in the customer table in our database, the user will be the primary key. So this line basically means the relationship is basically like that. A user is a customer. Just for simplicity, you can think it like that. So similarly, we are gonna do the same thing in our with the employee model. Here, let's say instead of location, we want their designation. I'm just making this up. You will make it according to your requirements. So we have created our three models. So what will happen, for a recap, we will have three database tables in our database: one user, one customer, one employee. Customer and employee table will have one row for user, which is extending the user class. Before making migration, we will go to our main project and settings, and here I've actually already written it. We are gonna write auth user model equals to our app name, where we have the user model, where we extended our user model. We need to do this because we are using a custom user model, not the default one. So before making migration, don't forget to write. So as you can see, I've made my migrations. Okay, so our migration is done. So now I'm gonna use Django forms to receive and process submitted forms and data from the user. So there are a lot of ways of creating forms in Django. Today I'm gonna use UserCreationForm, which is a built-in Django form. So for that, first I need to create a forms.py folder in accounts. Okay. Django. So this user creation form inherits from model form class of Django. It has 3 fields, which is username, password 1 and password 2 for confirmation. Create 2 user creation forms, one for the employee registration form and one for the customer registration form. So remember, as I've already said, the user creation form already provides username, password 1 and password 2 fields. So whatever we write in here will be just extra fields that you want your user to fill up in your registration form. So just wanna have this. So this is all I want to have on my Similarly, I'm gonna create the employee sign up form. So the only different thing is I want to designation. Okay. So before we move on, I want this information, means as soon as the form is submitted successfully, I want the data to go to my database in a single transaction so that no data errors occur. So to do that, I'm gonna use transaction atomic. So we are going to do this in for each of the registration form. The syntax is transaction dot atomic. So what this transaction dot atomic will do, that if the block of code is successfully run, then the changes are saved in the database, and if there is an exception, then the changes will be rolled back. I'm going to create a method in here. Data save So all we are doing here, here we are getting the instance form. So we are saving our data in our database, but I did a mistake here. It won't be customer dot first name. Remember in our models.py for the user we have first name and last name. So that's why here we will have user, sorry, before saving, just gonna copy paste that. I'll explain it more. Just give me 1 second. So I have imported from this model class, I have imported customer, employee, and user. So in our transaction.atomic, we have created a method where we are saving the instance of the form, which form our user creation form. The form which have username, password, then other things that we want. So here we are saving the first name, last name, since it will have in our registration form. What's gonna happen is in our database, in the user table, suppose I just registered in the form, suppose with the name Terry and Terry Joe, then my first name is Terry and my last name is Joe. So in our user table, in the first name column, it will be Terry, and in the last name, it will be Joe. So then I'm gonna save it. Can you see that I typed commit equals to false, because before saving it to our database, I want to save these two information. So if commit equals to true, then it wouldn't have saved first name, last name, and then I just saved it in my user table. After that, I called this customer model and created a variable named customer. Then I created an instance, user instance, and I saved phone number that we got from our form and saved it. I'll do the same with the employee sign up. Instead of customer, I'm gonna write employee in here. So let me just copy paste this. Okay, I also want to have designation in my form, so I'm gonna add that as well. Copy, paste. Okay, I did a mistake in here. This will be customer dot, right? Because we are saving the phone number in our customer table for the customer. So it has to be customer dot. Sorry for the mistake. So for those of you who don't know what this cleanData.get does, is when a user submits the data via the Django form, Django first validates it and cleans the data. So this is because any data user submits to form will be passed to server as strings, no matter what type of form field it is, whether it's char field, or whatever, it's gonna pass the data as to server as string. So when Django cleans the data through cleanData, it will automatically convert the data to the appropriate type. Now I will create the views in views.py folder, views.py file or in the account folder. So here will have a page where the user will be asked whether they want to register as a customer or an employee. For that, I will create a method in Vue named register, and it will just direct us to the HTML page in which is register.html in the templates folder. Register. Now, to show it in our actual page, we also have to create the URL for this. In our main project urls.py, we also have to include the URL for the account app. So I have created this Vue method register, which will just render us to the register.html page here, and I've also created the URL. So basically, if you don't know how URLs work, basically I have for the account, in the main URL I have written accounts. So basically, if you wanna access anything inside the accounts app in your website URL, in the browser URL, you will just write account / then whatever URL you have written here. So account / register / we're gonna call register account / register / it will take us to this register method, and this register method will take us to the templates.register.html. I hope that's clear. So register.html, I've just written a basic HTML. If you're not acquainted with it, that's alright. You can just have whatever you want. I'm just showing you the method and just an example. So here in our register page, I'm just gonna ask whether I just created a link, whether the user want to register as a customer or an employee. So let me show you. So in my local host, if I go to accounts, so it's already written /c. I hope it's clear. You can see it. It's really small. I haven't really added any CSS. So it's not going to take us anywhere now because I didn't really add the link for the customer or employee registration form. Now I'm going to make two class-based views for my project with the help of create view. So for that I have to import create view. So the create view is a view that displays a form for creating an object and then saves the object. If there is no object created, then it will return none. I want the view to display the data for the user model. So right here, user, then the form class, user model. Form class will be the name of our form. Let's go there. The form for the customer is customer sign up form. Copy, paste. Template name is customer register. Basically, we just created a view for the customer registration form in here. So it will, this template name is the name of the template we want to load and register, the template that we want to show when this custom register class-based view is called. So similarly, just like register, we also need to create a URL for this custom register. So let's do that. Okay. So we want to call this customer register. So guys, I did some mistake in here. That is in our forms.py. Don't forget to import from Django import forms. Otherwise, it's going to show an error. In our views, don't forget to import this form file in here from .form. That means from the same file we are importing the form.py. Since I named it form.py, I'm going to import form. If you name it another thing, you will import that particular one. From there, we are importing our customer and employee sign up, which I have used in here. Then rendering, so render, create view, import it from generic view, which I've used in here. And I have imported the models from our, I've called the user model in here, so I imported it. I imported this too as well, but I don't think we really need it. So first, let's go to our customer register. Oh, I did a mistake. The HTML. Let's go to our customer register. So I've just used a basic HTML template in here. Initially, I wanted to use Bootstrap, but then I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So that's why you can see all these rows are now, but you don't really need it. You can just design it however you want it to be. So we will create this form file, form template. We haven't really done it yet. Let me first check whether will this give me any errors or not. So let's go to customer register. Okay, as you can see, you can already see the file. Not the file, I mean the form. So the reason you can see that is because we have used this. The way you call form in HTML is by giving two curly brackets. So here the action is basically after submitting the form where you want your data to go to. I'm going to define that I actually wanted to go to our view, which is customer register. So let's do that. Then URL. So what this is gonna do is it's just gonna call the URL customer register. If you have named this like only customer, then you will call here only customer. Okay, and then after it comes here, it's gonna go to the view, which is in here, and show us and render the forms. Another thing that I want to do is when I go to my register page, when I click on it, I actually wanted to go to the registration form page. So to do that, I will go to my registration, and here I'll do the same thing. I'll just provide the URL, which is customer register. Let's see if it works. See, it just worked. Okay. So I'll do the same thing with the employee register, which is I'm just gonna copy paste this. We also have to add the path for this. Let's go to the employee register HTML template. We're gonna do the same thing with it. Provide the URL for the employee register. Let's see if it works. Designation, okay, it did. So now when I go to, when we click I'm an employee, I wanna do the same thing in here. When you click I'm an employee, it will show the form. Now, the last thing we want to create is our admin.py file. Here, basically, whatever you want to see in your admin dashboard, that is. So yeah, we wanna see the user, employee, and customer data in here. So to do that, we have to employee models. So normally you actually want to do a lot more than this, but for simplicity I've just kept it like this. So let's see what happens if we go here. Then what happened? Oh, keep on making mistakes. As you can see, we have customer. So if you want, you can add from here as well. User. And this is me, the admin. So see, in employee panel or model, we have this user as our primary key. So remember, we created two Boolean variables in models.py to identify whether the user is a customer or an employee. So in our forms.py, when we are saving the data for the customer sign-up form, we will make this is customer equals to true. So user dot is customer true, and we're gonna do the same thing, just employee now. Let's check whether our registration or everything is alright or not, works or not. Okay, so it's giving us this error because we haven't really redirected after the submission of the registration form. In your project, you would want to redirect it to your home page or some other page. For simplicity, I didn't do it here, but I'm gonna show it to you how you can do it. But first, let's check in our admin whether the user has been registered or not. So in our customer, as you can see, the user is Bertha, which we have taken from the user model in here. Actually, I wanted to name it Bertha, but it turned out to be Bertha. Anyways, so it is customer active by default, not the stuff, first name, last name, and here the location is blank because we didn't really include it in our form. However, if you want to, you can. So as I said before, I want my employees to be a staff member. For that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say user dot is stuff equals to true. So what it's gonna do, it's gonna give the employees, the users who sign up as employees, the permission of is stuff. Similarly, if you want to redirect the user after the registration has been completed in our views.py, what you can do is you can create a method here like validation maybe. Did I spell it right? It's gonna be validation. And after that, we're just making sure that the form is safe. So what we did here is, if the form is safe, then the user will be logged in, and then you can redirect it to your desired page. Maybe you can redirect it to some page that you want. So this is for the redirection. Alright. So yeah guys, this is it. And next comes the login part, login, logout. You can also do that with the authentication form, Django built-in authentication form, which makes it a lot easier. But I'm gonna sign off for today. Thank you for watching.